Biologists think that there are about 5 billion species that have ever existed on Earth. 8.7 million of those are alive today, and only 1.3 million of which have been identified. All these organisms had a universal ancestor that has existed billions of years ago, from which they have descended with modification over the course of geologic time. Evolution through natural selection has given rise to the abundance of diversity that the planet has seen and is seeing today. Of interest to biologists is the pattern of evolutionary history of organisms, an area of study called phylogeny.
In describing relatedness of organisms to one another, people usually refer to appearances, which can be put in a character table. Organisms that look similar to each other or have similar structures are often more closely related than the organisms which look nothing alike. Take for example using shared characteristics of a tiger, turtle, frog, tuna, lamprey, and fruit fly. We group them based on the presence of a vertebrae, hinged jaw, forelimbs, amnion, and hair, and we determine which animal has which feature. From this, a phylogenetic tree can be made. The result will be something like this. However, there is a limit to how useful shared physical characteristics are as basis for evolutionary relatedness. For example, although it resembles a snake, this animal is actually a legless lizard known as the glass lizard. As another example, take the Australian mole and the African golden mole. However similar they may look, they are very different. Genetic and fossil evidence indicate that their most recent common ancestor lived 140 million years ago. Confusing, isn't it? From our two examples so far, similar features do not necessarily mean evolutionary relatedness. Similarities that arise independently of each other due to similar environments are due to convergent evolution and not common ancestry. This is called homoplasy, as opposed to homology, which is similarity due to common ancestry.
More reliable than any other basis are DNA sequences. Many populations evolve as their gene pool accumulates changes and modifications, leading to evolution. Thus, evolutionary history is also reflected by similarities in DNA sequences of organisms. The creation of computer software capable of analyzing relatedness among a sample of organisms based on the DNA sequences has greatly advanced the field of phylogeny based on molecular genetics and bioinformatics. DNA sequences of specific genes of proteins or enzymes, or even RNA or mitochondrial DNA, are stored in an online database called NCBI GenBank. They can be copied in a text-based format called FASTA. Sequences can be input in an online software like Clustal Omega in order to generate a phylogenetic tree from the sequences. These software determine sequence similarities through a method known as multiple alignment, executed through certain advanced built-in algorithms in the software. The results can be spectacular, as the power of computers is immense, able to calculate phylogeny of multiple sequences at once, such as one shown in this slide, a phylogenetic tree of fungi species containing many branches and taxa.
So what is the importance of using genetic basis for phylogeny? Past classifications of life have been primarily based on shared characteristics. For example, the previous 5 kingdom classification of life was based on similar characteristics such as anatomy, morphology, and mode of nutrition. However, genetic evidence has deemed this system invalid as it did not accurately show the evolutionary history of the protists, archaea, and bacteria in particular. The use of genetic data led biologists to come up with a better classification system of eukaryotes, which better suited evolutionary history. Take, for example, this phylogenetic tree based on genetic samples from various kinds of eukaryotes. See that the protists are spread across a tree rather than one separate group. Indeed, the use of the genetic makeup embedded in every organism provides a window to the evolutionary path of life itself, the very essence of biology. And that is all for this lecture. Thank you.